She had everything on paper: the ring, the house, the picture-perfect marriage. Yet every night, she scrolled through her DMs, risking it all for validation from strangers. Like signing a contract without reading the fine print, many discover marriage alone doesn't guarantee loyalty. In this video, I'm uncovering the psychological drivers that push some married women to seek outside attention. We'll explore why that ring on her finger sometimes means less than the dopamine hit from an Instagram notification. How can a stoic, high-value man navigate this subtle betrayal? Understanding these patterns is crucial for men who want to remain in control of their relationships. The emotional void. When marriage leaves women starving for validation. Think back to those early days of marriage. He noticed everything: the new dress, the way you styled your hair, the dinner you spent hours preparing. Every compliment felt genuine, every moment of appreciation real. Now fast forward 5 years. The same dress goes unnoticed. The same hairstyle receives no comment. The dinner is eaten with eyes fixed on a phone screen. This transformation is the standard progression. In many marriages, constant validation fades into functional conversation about bills, schedules, and household tasks. Did you pay the electric bill? Replaces "you look beautiful today." The emotional nourishment drains away, leaving an aching vacuum. University of Washington researchers discovered a critical ratio in their study of failing marriages. Relationships need 5 positive interactions to offset each negative one. When this balance shifts, emotional starvation begins. Women particularly notice this shift because many are socialized from childhood to receive validation for their appearance and efforts, creating a jarring emotional gap when it disappears. Take Sarah, who spent an hour getting ready for date night, wearing her husband's once favorite dress. His response: a quick glance from his phone. "And are you ready to go? We're running late." No acknowledgement of her effort. Or consider Michael and Lisa, married 12 years. She stopped wearing jewelry he never noticed, while meticulously tracking compliments from her tennis instructor. The human brain craves recognition. We need to feel seen. When recognition disappears from a primary relationship, the brain seeks it elsewhere. This is psychology at work. A compliment from a coworker triggers a quick flash of dopamine, that electric spark of pleasure that momentarily illuminates the emotional darkness. The brain, efficient in its programming, naturally gravitates toward these rewards. This pattern emerges subtly. She posts more selfies, counting likes and comments. She mentions how her coworker noticed her new haircut. Her laugh lingers when the barista compliments her smile. These moments provide the emotional nourishment missing at home. Neither partner typically recognizes what's happening. The husband doesn't realize his shift from attentive partner to functional roommate. The wife doesn't connect her increasing need for external validation with the emotional void growing at home. Both adapt until the distance becomes too wide to ignore. Humans adapt to consistent stimuli. The excitement common in early relationships naturally fades without conscious effort to maintain it. This doesn't make either partner bad, it makes them typical. The problem comes when this pattern goes unaddressed, creating space for outside attention to seem increasingly appealing. This emotional void explains why women in seemingly perfect marriages still respond to messages from old flames or smile too long at compliments from strangers. It's about being truly seen again. For men watching this, understanding this pattern offers valuable insight. When emotional needs go unmet, humans seek fulfillment elsewhere. This isn't about justifying inappropriate behavior, but recognizing early warning signs. What begins as an emotional void transforms over time. When validation becomes scarce, it gains value, and anything with value becomes currency in relationship dynamics, gradually transforming into a competition for power and control, where a woman seeking outside attention is establishing her value in a relationship where she feels increasingly invisible. The power play, attention as currency, and control. Beyond the emotional void lies something more calculated: Consider this. Why would a woman who appears to have everything, a loving husband, financial stability, social status, still seek attention from other men? The answer often lies in power dynamics. While some women seek external validation to fill emotional gaps, others use it as a form of currency and control. This transforms the behavior from reactive to strategic. Even if unconsciously, attention operates like social capital in the relationship marketplace, something to be acquired, displayed, and leveraged. This uncomfortable reality challenges our understanding of relationships. Some women pursue outside attention because they desire control rather than emotional fulfillment. The validation they receive becomes proof of their continuing value, evidence they could have chosen differently or still could if desired. At social gatherings, a married woman might light up around certain men, laughing more animatedly than with her husband. Some casually mention admirers to their partners, not explicitly threatening the relationship, but subtly reminding their husband of their desirability. These behaviors establish power rather than fill emotional needs. As relationship expert Dr. Helen Fisher notes, attention serves as external evidence of worth in relationships where internal validation has become routine. It communicates, "I'm still valuable, I'm still wanted, you're lucky to have me." This validation becomes addictive, creating a cycle where external approval takes priority. This collection of admiration becomes habitual regardless of relationship satisfaction. Even women in happy marriages sometimes maintain this behavior because the psychological reward is potent. The novelty of feeling desired by someone new provides a high that's difficult to match in long-term relationships. What's concerning is how this transforms marriage from partnership into competition. The husband becomes another player in the attention game rather than a teammate. Marriage shifts from us against the world to me against you, with external admirers as scorekeepers. Each compliment from someone outside the marriage delivers a dopamine release in the brain's reward center, creating a powerful reinforcement loop. Neuropsychologists have identified this pattern as similar to other reward-seeking behaviors, making it particularly difficult to recognize as problematic once established. From a Stoic perspective, recognizing when validation has become a power tool requires emotional detachment and clear observation. Watch for patterns where your partner derives more satisfaction from attention outside the relationship than within it. Notice if they enjoy making you slightly jealous or measure their worth primarily through others' reaction. The Stoic man understands that while he cannot control his partner's behavior, he can control his response. Rather than reacting with jealousy, which often reinforces the pattern, he maintains dignity and sets clear boundaries. Women who use external attention as leverage create a subtle power imbalance in the relationship. This isn't always malicious or conscious. It's often a learned behavior, reinforced by social dynamics. This pattern points to something complex in human relationships. Beyond the emotional void and power play lies the thrill of the forbidden, where boundaries begin to blur in ways that can threaten even the strongest relationships. The forbidden thrill. When boundaries start to blur, there's something particularly intoxicating about crossing lines you know you shouldn't cross. This explains why some married women walk the dangerous line between innocent interaction and emotional infidelity. The thrill that comes with forbidden territory acts like a secret well they can dip into whenever life feels too predictable. Marriage, for all its benefits, often becomes routine. The excitement of dating transforms into the predictability of daily life. The nervous butterflies and passionate beginnings eventually settle into comfortable familiarity, like a favorite sweater that keeps you warm, but no longer makes your heart race. This predictability creates safety, but kills excitement. And some people crave that excitement more than they value stability. When marriage feels mundane, attention from someone new creates an adrenaline rush that's hard to resist. The contrast becomes stark. At home, you're discussing household responsibilities. With someone new, you're mysterious and desirable again. This feeling can become addictive. Consider Sarah, whose innocent work friendship with a colleague began with professional discussions. Over months, their conversations shifted from project deadlines to personal struggles, from casual coffee breaks to private text messages that made her smile in ways her husband hadn't triggered in years. Neither intended to cross boundaries, yet both found themselves gradually constructing an intimate connection that existed in the shadows of their primary relationships. Flirting and pushing boundaries creates excitement. Missing in established relationships. Each boundary crossed delivers a shot of adrenaline. The suggestive text, the private joke, the lingering conversation. These interactions appear harmless. We're just talking, but they follow a progression. Casual comments evolve into personal conversations. Work discussions transform into sharing frustrations about your spouse. Friendly support becomes emotional intimacy. Social media has dramatically changed this landscape, creating endless opportunities for seeking forbidden thrills. These platforms allow for constant private connection that would have been impossible 20 years ago. This behavior is particularly dangerous because it happens in small increments. As one relationship expert describes it, it creates one tiny crack at a time in the foundation of trust. The cumulative effect is devastating. The psychology behind these forbidden interactions is straightforward. When something is prohibited, it gains value. The secrecy creates anticipation. The risk generates adrenaline. The brain releases dopamine, creating a psychological high that can become compulsive. The line between healthy friendship and dangerous boundary crossing gets crossed when secrecy enters, when conversations are hidden, when interactions with others become more anticipated than time with your spouse, when intimate thoughts are shared that you withhold from your partner. Many women seeking this forbidden thrill have no intention of divorcing their husbands. They want both the stability of marriage and the excitement of new connection, like trying to stand in two boats simultaneously. This makes the pattern particularly difficult to address. For men wanting to protect themselves and their relationships, recognizing these patterns early is essential. Learning to spot warning signals allows you to the warning signs. Recognizing when your partner is looking elsewhere. Spotting the warning signs early can save you months of confusion and pain. While every relationship is different, attention-seeking behaviors tend to follow predictable patterns. When a partner begins looking outside the marriage for validation, certain changes almost always appear. The challenge lies in separating normal social interactions from problematic patterns. Having friends, enjoying conversations with others, and maintaining separate interests are all healthy parts of any marriage. The difference between healthy behavior and warning signs isn't about the activities themselves, but about the patterns, changes, and intensity behind them. The first major warning sign is a sudden, excessive need for validation and compliments. If your partner suddenly requires constant reassurance about her appearance or accomplishments, something has shifted. You might notice her fishing for compliments more frequently or seeming disappointed when you don't provide the exact validation she's seeking. This need for approval extends beyond you to others in her life, manifesting in increased selfie posting or highlighting compliments from coworkers. Building on this pattern, watch for defensiveness when questioned about certain interactions. If you ask something simple like "Who were you texting just now?" and receive a response like "Why are you always checking up on me? Don't you trust me at all?" This evasiveness signals trouble. Normal conversations shouldn't trigger defensive reactions unless there's something to hide. A partner with nothing to conceal typically answers questions about their day or conversations without feeling attacked. Similarly, observe energy shifts, where she becomes more engaged with others while growing less present at home. You might witness her barely participating in dinner conversation with you, then transforming into the life of the party when certain friends arrive. Watch for differences in how she interacts with you versus others. Is her laughter more genuine with them? Does she share stories more freely with others while offering you only functional conversation? Connected to these shifts is increased secrecy around communications and new friendships. This includes hiding her phone, deleting messages, or being vague about her contacts. You might notice her suddenly password-protecting devices, turning her phone face down, or stepping outside to take calls. When you ask about a new friend, she might respond with minimal details. Just someone from work without elaborating on how they met or what they discuss. These warning signs typically appear as a constellation rather than in isolation. The real indicator of a problem is the pattern, multiple signs appearing together and increasing in frequency over time. For men who follow Stoic principles, recognizing these patterns allows for early intervention without emotional overreaction. Rather than making accusations, address underlying issues directly. What's causing this need for external validation? What's missing in the relationship? When these warning signs appear, you face a critical choice. Address them directly or ignore them, hoping they'll disappear. Unfortunately, unaddressed warning signs typically escalate into more serious boundary violations that can permanently damage trust and intimacy. The silent erosion. What happens when you ignore the signs? Ignoring warning signs doesn't make them disappear. It makes them grow. When you notice your partner seeking attention elsewhere, but choose to look away, you set in motion a predictable pattern of relationship deterioration that unfolds like a slow-motion crash. Initially, the changes appear minor. She checks her phone more often. She mentions new friends you haven't met. She seems distracted during conversations, without acknowledgement and correction. These small shifts transform into the foundation of relationship breakdown. Your partner begins to value external validation more than the relationship itself. What starts as occasional attention-seeking evolves into a pattern where interactions with others take precedence over time with you. She becomes more invested in how others perceive her than in how you feel about her. As one relationship researcher notes, ignoring a partner's attention-seeking behavior essentially establishes a silent agreement to become second place. This creates a feedback loop. The more attention she seeks outside the relationship, the less emotional energy she invests in it. The less she invests, the more the relationship deteriorates, driving her to seek additional external validation. The problem escalates. Mild flirtation or innocent conversations gradually transform into bolder boundary crossing because unaddressed behaviors typically intensify rather than resolve. She tests limits, pushing boundaries further each time, interpreting your silence as permission. While she becomes bolder in her attention-seeking, you likely become quieter in your resentment. You notice the changes, but say nothing, perhaps hoping the situation will improve on its own. This creates another destructive pattern, her escalating behavior and your increasing withdrawal. Consider how a once vibrant relationship hollows out. A couple who once shared their daily thoughts now sits in silence at dinner, both scrolling through their phones. When they do speak, conversations remain superficial. "How was your day?" receives only "fine" as an answer. Physical touch becomes rare, then absent. They occupy the same space but exist in separate worlds. This deterioration resembles the proverbial frog in slowly heating water. Both partners adapt to each new level of dysfunction until they find themselves in a relationship fundamentally changed, transformed from lovers to roommates, from partners to strangers sharing an address. Research shows relationships typically reach a point of no return when these issues persist too long. After a certain threshold of damage to trust and intimacy, repair becomes nearly impossible. The Stoic approach offers a different path. Rather than ignoring problems, Stoicism teaches us to face relationship challenges directly and rationally. This means acknowledging observed behaviors without making accusation. "I've noticed you seem more engaged with your phone lately," opens dialogue more effectively than accusatory statements. The Stoic recognizes that while he cannot control his partner's behavior, he can control his response. This includes setting clear boundaries about what he will accept and being willing to enforce those boundaries if necessary. The wisdom here is powerful. See reality clearly, act with integrity, and maintain your principles regardless of others' choices. By addressing warning signs early and directly, you honor both yourself and the relationship, creating the foundation for either meaningful repair or dignified conclusion. The Stoic shield, protecting yourself without losing your center. When your partner starts seeking validation elsewhere, your immediate reaction might be anger, jealousy, or desperate attempts to win back their attention. These emotional responses feel natural, but they often make the situation worse. This is where Stoic principles offer something powerful, a shield that protects the relationship and your sense of self. Picture this: your heart races as you watch your partner light up at someone else's attention. Your mind screams to react, check their phone, confront them, or compete for their notice. Yet in that storm of emotion lies the opportunity for a different choice. Stoicism provides clarity instead of reaction. Emotional detachment creates mental space to see situations clearly. When your partner seeks external validation, take a step back before responding. Ask yourself, what's actually happening here? What patterns am I seeing? This perspective frees you from being controlled by immediate emotional responses. Try this practical exercise. When you notice attention-seeking behavior, pause and take 3 deep breaths. During those breaths, remind yourself that their behavior reflects their internal state, not your worth. This small practice creates space between stimulus and response, your fortress of calm in the emotional storm. Stoicism emphasizes focusing on what you can control. You can control your response. You can establish your boundaries. You can maintain your self-respect. You cannot control your partner's need for validation. Consider Tom's situation. His wife posted provocative photos and engaged with flirtatious comments. Instead of surveillance or demands, he communicated clear boundaries. I value faithfulness in our marriage. I can't control your actions, but I can decide what I'm willing to accept in a relationship. This preserved his dignity without attempting to control her. Awareness helps you recognize manipulation without becoming manipulative. Notice patterns. Do they mention admirers during arguments? Do they become more flirtatious after disagreements? Recognizing these patterns allows you to step outside the game entirely. Strong boundaries focus on your standards. I choose to be in a relationship where both partners prioritize each other's feelings. This statement defines what you will accept without trying to control their behavior. The cornerstone of the Stoic approach. When establishing boundaries, use calm, direct communication. Your boundaries aren't restrictions on your partner. They define what kind of relationship you're willing to participate in. This clarity protects your self-respect regardless of their response. The Stoic mindset shields you from manipulation while preserving your integrity. By focusing on principles rather than their behavior, you avoid emotional games. Your worth comes from living according to your values, not from their attention. Personal sovereignty matters more than relationship status. By maintaining principles regardless of their choices, you remain emotionally secure even when the relationship feels uncertain. This approach doesn't guarantee they'll change or the relationship will survive. It guarantees something more valuable, that you'll navigate challenges with dignity and emerge with self-respect intact. Whether working through issues or eventually walking away, you'll decide from clarity rather than reaction. The truest strength isn't controlling others. It's maintaining your center when others can't control themselves. That's the essence of the Stoic shield. Seeing these patterns doesn't make you cynical or jaded. It makes you prepared. When you understand why people behave as they do, you gain clarity without losing compassion. Remember that your most important relationship is with yourself. By staying centered in your values, you'll handle any situation with dignity. Sometimes that means working through issues. Other times it means walking away. Both require strength. The Stoic truth is powerful. You control your response, not others' need for validation. This choice, responding rather than reacting, is your true power. Ask yourself, What relationships truly serve your highest self? Your answer reveals everything.